Hi. Today ChatGPT hired me to make a game for him. He ordered me to create a game called Echo Chamber. He even gave me a full description of what he wanted.
Game concept. The player controls a shark in a completely dark world. You don't see the level, you reveal it by fighting. Every shout sends out sound waves, and those waves bounce off walls, enemies, and traps, briefly revealing their shape. But here's the catch. Sound also wakes up creatures that hunt you. So the more you try to see, the more danger you create. Your job is to navigate to the exit by balancing between revealing too much and staying quiet. Yeah, it took me more than a week, but finally I did it, so let's dive in. On the first day, I started by creating the player. I just took it from Sora. Oh yeah, that's him. It's our first body. Maybe he looks bad to you. Yeah, he's from Sora, but when you will see my hand-drawn character, you'll beg me to bring him back. After that, I started working on a simple player input and movement system. It actually took me almost an hour to get it right. On the second day, I started by creating a simple light and an echo maker, which now is basically a torch. The light glows around the area near the torch, and I also begin working on the first prototype of echoes passing through the echo maker. And yeah, it looks pretty funny right now. Okay, it's better now, but I still feel like I need something a bit more impressive than this. Okay, yeah, ChatGPT is my boss. Anyway, he wasn't happy with my logic and insisted that the light should spawn at a specific point and stay fixed there. So fine, let it be. Now it doesn't look that cool, so I need to add something else, maybe a ring? My boss was yelling at me because I increased the size of the light instead of making it expand. So I spent quite a bit of time fixing that, and honestly I still have no idea why I even did that. And at the end of the second day I started working on the chaser and his logic. I started by trying to create the first prototype of concrete, but I have never made pixel art before, so it looks kind of gloomy right now, but I will replace it later. After that, I started creating the floor and learning the basics of tile sets. And it's actually pretty easy to make. I don't have wall textures yet, so I decided to build my first walls using the chests. The trickiest part of the day for me was making the enemy logic. If the echoing hits them through a wall, they weren't supposed to chase me. I keep begging ChatGPT for help, and every time he gives me like 40 lines of code. But in the end, I found the solution in just one line. Then I moved on to creating the base of level 1. Alright, new day and my favorite kind of work, making tiles. I hate it so much, so I added a few more floor tiles and made some for the walls as well, but finally I will replace them all. Moving on, I placed the walls on the map and started exploring how to make wall shadows, so that the walls would be visible, but the space behind them wouldn't. Eventually, I decided to create individual invisible walls that act as light blockers, which will stay behind the walls. After I figured that out, I needed to work on the game completion logic. I got an idea to add keys hidden inside chests. Each chest can spawn at one of several points that I placed on the map. Once you collect enough keys, you can escape. I also created an interface class that serves as the base for all objects that can interact with the player. The logic is simple. I made a circle object around the player with a trigger collider, so whenever the circle collides with an interactable object, the player can interact with it. For example, when you are near a chest, you can collect it and you will receive a key. Following the previous patterns, creating other interactable objects wasn't tricky. By the end of the day, I was searching for a footstep sound, and this one looks pretty fine. On the morning of day 5, I was improving my structure, add doors, and found some background sounds, and now it looks like this. The door mechanic is simple. I just put two doors into one object, and when you get close to one of them, you can teleport to the other. After that, I made an effect that activates when the chaser is chasing you. It has a fixed duration time and a cooldown. Here is an example. At the beginning of the morning, I realized my scene looked dry, and I wanted to completely change it. My first idea was to make more wall and floor variations, but eventually I decided to totally redesign the game's look. Over the next few days, I worked on the new level design partly on my MacBook and couldn't record most of it, so there isn't too much recordings of my work. I started working on the player's look. Here, I finally have my own hand-drawn character, and it's also my first one made in pixel art. As for the animation, the side one looks pretty dumb. In the final week, I was working on decorations, fixing bugs, and adding lots of sounds and animations. I also recreated the Echo Maker. It's no longer a torch, now it's a sphere. I just hope the game isn't boring. To be honest, this was the trickiest part of the whole project. And now let me show you my pre-final version of the game. If you like it, I will upload it somewhere and add a few more levels, a main menu, and other features that you can play.